Okay, there's only one thing you have to take away from all this. Take it easy.
Telltale, might I just say thank you for this glitch? I'm sorry, I just had to show that video. Ever since I saw the gif of that, I just haven't been able to look away. Anyways, this is The Wolf Among Us, made by Telltale Games, and actually I'm gonna cut in for a moment. I'm just gonna tell you guys right now, I'm a huge Telltale fanboy, so that may get in the way for the review, just to let you guys know. And also, one more thing, spoiler ahoy for this review, I'm gonna be covering everything in all of the episodes, so if you haven't been the whole season, then you may want to click off. So what do you do in this game? Well, he plays Bigby, who's the big bad wolf. And yeah, that's the same big bad wolf who thought it'd be a good idea to pretend to be Red Riding Hood's grandma, and then quickly got his stomach ripped open by the woodsman. But he's also the guy that killed millions back in the homelands, so take your pick. In the first episode, you go to Mr. Toad's house because he called because something's going on upstairs. And after having a nice chat with Mr. Toad about why he should be glamored, you head upstairs to see what all the fuss is about. After knocking on the door, you find the woodsman slapping a hooker. Then after a quick rumble of the woodsman, you find Woody Van Axe in his head. Later, you find out that the hooker's name is Faith, and then she leaves. After that, Bigby then goes home to the Woodland Apartments, and after having a quick chat with his dinner, goes to sleep. But then Bigby wakes up to the sound of Snow White knocking on his door. Snow White leaves Bigby outside, and he discovers Faith's head on his doorstep. And this is what the rest of the game revolves around. The rest of the game is about you trying to find out what happened to her. And really the best part of the game is the detective work. You can be a nice guy and try to uphold the law.
Cut the crap, Georgie. I want the book Hans is talking about.
Hans is confused. Again.
Or just be a complete asshole and punch everyone that you see.
What happened to the axe?
Okay. Fucking jeez, take it easy.
And people usually act very well by how you treated them. For example, if you char off Grendel's arm, he'll react to you the way that you would expect someone if you tore off their arm. And it all matters at the end when you're at the Cricket Man's trial or at his funeral. And there's a feeling throughout the whole game that you're not being told the whole story as expected. And in fact, one of the biggest things I got against the game is that people keep bullshitting their way out of questions, and that can get annoying after a while. It only seems like every other episode do you find out important plot devices, like, yes, I know that you find in episode 2 that Crane faps the snow when she's not looking, and episode 4 you find out where the Crooked Man lives, but other than that, you don't really learn a lot in episode 2 or 4. In all of the other episodes, you find out important plot devices throughout the whole episode other than just one section. But this doesn't detract from the main story, it still holds together very well. The characters are interesting, and they aren't just one-dimensional. And while most choices you make don't haunt you throughout the whole story, it's always nice to see someone that you save come back in another episode. And the game has so much backstory to it. The game is actually based off a comic series called Fables, and in the game you can go to something called the Book of Fables that tells you the backstory to every single fable or even some objects that you meet. And this actually has some replay value to the game because there's some things that you don't get because you didn't save something or you didn't do something. So if you're like me and you have a second save file, it's pretty good to do the opposite, because then you get every single backstory and every single character, as well as some characters that you don't even meet. And you don't even have to have read the comics to know what's going on, because Telltale does a very good job at transferring all the knowledge from the comics into the game, and if you're a new player, you know exactly what's going on. And you also just gotta love how gruesome this game can be.
Oh my god!
Oh.
I love the look of this game. The lines around the characters fit a lot better than The Walking Dead just because of the whole noir look and the overall art style. The game especially looks way better at nighttime with all the neon lights and stuff. The only issue with the engine is that stiff movements can happen sometimes, and if you don't play on PC, then loading times can be pretty long. Like, the game isn't exactly a good looker in terms of like realistic graphics, so it shouldn't take that long to load, but since I play on PC, loading times take only a few seconds. As well as QuickTime events can sometimes freeze on consoles, but as I said, I play on PC, so these problems are not even there. One thing I want to talk about the engine though, is that doesn't get talked about much, is the optimization. Now, when I record and just play the game, it's always at 60 FPS. It can't go any higher because the game doesn't let you. So I bet you're wondering, what's the problem with the game if you're always getting 60 FPS? Well, that is when I uncap the refresh rate by manually turning off VSync and seeing that the FPS is usually around 80 to 90. Now, in most games, this won't be a problem because you're getting pretty good frames. But look at the game, it's not exactly a good looker in terms of, like I said, realistic graphics earlier. But then look at games like Global Offensive that run very good, and look at the graphics. I mean, they're pretty good compared to The Wolf Among Us. And, I mean, the Telltale engine should be able to get frames like this easily just because of how cartoony the games look. But if you're like me and you have a decent computer, the game runs fine. But if you don't and you have a more lower end computer, than like say of Intel 4000, I used to have one actually, and the first Walking Dead, if I played it on the highest graphics I possibly could, it would usually stay around 30 FPS, which is pretty ridiculous. I mean, the game looked pretty cartoony. This game should easily be playing at 120 FPS. But getting off all the bad stuff, Telltale does a pretty good job at transferring a 2D image into a 3D video game, and when you compare the characters from the comic to the game, they look very much like how they do in the comics. Overall, I think that The Wolf Among Us is definitely worth the $25 it's going to cost you. I can't be saying that I'm going to be doing a score from 1 to 10 because I'd be pretty bad at that, but I still want to leave you guys with some sort of score, so I'm going to score it from horseshit to masterpiece. So, from horseshit to masterpiece, I gotta give this game an awesome. The game may be slow at times, but it all finishes nicely at the end. And this game does show that Telltale has really grown as a company and wasn't just lucky with The Walking Dead. And from the way this game ended, I can't wait for Season 2. From what I've heard actually is that I think Narissa was actually glamored as Faith in the first episode, but maybe I'm wrong, but in any case, I can't wait for the second season. And I hope you guys enjoyed the review I made. I actually want to do this for every game that I complete, just so you guys know how I felt after the game finished. So, I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you later.
I need to tell you something. I have to tell you something.
I feel like we've met before.
You're trying to place me. You like my ribbon? Do you like it?
Faith wore one too.
Would hide her beauty so she could escape his kingdom.
They used to call me the Little
Did
Mermaid.
Dr. Swinehart ever get back to you about Faith?
He said he wanted to run more tests. I hope you find what you're looking for. I'll see you around.